You did
One,
it.
two, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2. We are recording. Now we go.
Oh, what's up, guys? Big Uncle Ziesel right here. We got Big Papa Pump, J.M. Holland.
Yeah.
Hosted by Mike Fauerbach.
Hey, what's up, man?
And we have a special guest on the panel. Is this a panel or at the table today?
Table?
Nick Massington.
Good morning, gentlemen.
My friend, what's up, dude? He's one of the founding fathers of martial arts in Pennsylvania, especially this area of Pennsylvania. So if you guys don't know him, get to know him. This isn't like a typical interview show, but, you know, we've been getting a lot of guests on, and we've been trying to get Nick on for a while. So finally the time's lined up.
That's not exactly true. Nick's been trying to get on for a while. You guys are trying to avoid it. But, I showed up this morning, so they made me
Conspired.
They let me in.
Collusion.
Yeah, well, actually, I'm busy, I know, but you're way busier than me. I'm sure. I've seen your logbooks and all your stuff going on. So
No, this worked out. I really appreciate you guys having me. Like I said, I've been wanting to get on for a while. I admire what you guys are doing down here, and I think it'll be fun. And I'm hoping. I said to my wife, said, "What's the goal?" And I said, "To get asked back."
Yeah.
So hopefully I'll be entertaining enough that you guys will let me come back. I do make my own schedule to some degree, so when I don't have court dates, I'd love to come in.
nice,
Awesome.
Yeah. And honestly, how do we even meet you? Anyways, you met JM first, right?
Yeah, I've known, well, JM and I have crossed paths several times in historically. I ran the second MMA show in Pennsylvania by 24 hours.
Oh shit!
Oh, I thought it was the first.
No.
Fuck. I was holding on to that. I was really like, I was on the first one.
I think Tacitano and the guy that used to run Warrior Challenge did one Friday night. We were Saturday night.
What? What a dick move!
So
dude.
we were the
He
second
probably
one.
just fired it in.
John was on that show. John also has the distinction of being the only person that has beaten D-Boy twice in competition.
Yeah, don't bring that up.
So
D-Boy could be a problem a third time.
We're waiting for it to get old, and then we're going to get you.
That's happening.
We're going to get there. And then, of course, I knew of you guys when you were down with Rodney down at Hammer and Carmelo and all that. So it's always kind of been peripheral. But the real transition to really getting to know you guys was when I was looking for a place to bring D-Boy and have him kind of spread his wings a little bit on the jiu-jitsu circuit. You guys were his first and clearly the obvious choice for him, and I think it's worked out wonderfully. So it's been
D-Boy's the man, dude.
It's been a good relationship, and I'm hoping it continues into the future because you guys are the cutting edge of this shit now. I mean, you just are.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
Well,
thank you, man.
that's
Hey,
not-
we're all working together. It's a beautiful thing, man. Things are been crazy, dude. Just having everybody, just all the local guys that we know, having everybody come in and train together is really crazy. Like seeing our guys, D-Boy and all, your crew come down and, dude, just seeing him grow up and, I'm just like, holy shit, dude. Like, I'm ducking him, to be honest with you. I'm trying to stay away from him.
What you
Get
guys
the fuck out of here.
what
dude.
you guys are doing, I'm sure you know this, but it bears repeating. I mean, if you look back at the history of jiu-jitsu in this area, you really got to start primarily with like Hatfield and Lada when he started what is now Henzo PA. When I started, embarrassingly 16 or 17 years ago, because I'm so horrible at it, 17 years later, it's embarrassing, but that was the only show in town. I mean, if you wanted to train jiu-jitsu, if you even knew what it was, because most people didn't, you drove to Hatfield and you trained there. And if you look at what happened with him, the same thing's happening with you guys. That gym was the plant from which the seeds of so many other gyms have gone. Shoemaker opened his own place after that. Jay Frawley opened his own place after that. Mike Padilla opened his own place after that. Chuck Glass opened his own place. All those guys spread out from the Hatfield model. You guys are doing the same thing now. I mean, you've got John's killing it down here, but you guys are doing, I think, a little bit better in that you're keeping the ties, so that the guys and gals that'll be starting new gyms feeding off of you guys are still going to be connected with you guys. And some of them are, and some of them aren't. I mean, some of them aren't. I know Mike's still tight with those guys and whatever, but it's fun watching that. So
Thanks, man. Yeah, we're all working together with, you guys, and now we have our own affiliates. Like Jeff Mock, he won a match this weekend against Eric Naples.
Yeah, I know
Another
Jack.
guy, Eric and Jess, always come down, always support the finishers. They always come down and train. So I knew that was going to be a great match. And I've rolled with both those guys. Jeff is tough. Eric is tough too, obviously. Both those guys, animals. And, people are like, oh, who's that one guy? Where's he from? Like that.
Yeah,
I'm like, that's
Been
one of
working
our
with that guy for
affiliates.
years, dude.
Yeah, that's one of our affiliates, yeah.
Mock and D-Boy actually met on the circuit about 2 or 3 years ago. Nice guy. Real
Yeah,
nice guy.
that's what I'm saying. It's crazy. Like everybody, and honestly, I went down to the Hatfield gym. Once I started fighting in like 2001, I did like 2 MMA fights, and the second one I lost by triangle. Actually let myself go to sleep. First one I won by TKO, and I was like 19 or whatever. I was like, what the? I need to learn more grappling skills, and that was the only spot. And when I went there, those guys were purple belts. And if you saw a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, like Brian Miller and them, you were like, holy shit, that was like seeing an alien.
It was the Holy Grail.
Yeah, you're like, damn, this guy's a purple belt. And I didn't really get to train as much jiu-jitsu with them. I did train with Eric and a bunch of the guys more with the striking MMA stuff. So they had like a ring too, which was dope because I trained at Tiger Schulman's at the time. It was great training, but I didn't have a ring to train in. So just being able to wrestle in that ring was cool. And I did my first ever seminar there was with Renzo Gracie. I went to a seminar there. He came and he taught anaconda chokes. He demonstrated on me, and I was like, what the fuck is this? An anaconda choke? You got to be shitting me, dude. That was like 2004, maybe 2003.
Rich and Henzo stayed real tight. But if you remember the old gym, it was on the second floor of the Hatfield Health Club, which is a beautiful health club. It was a room, and if I recall correctly, it was 6 o'clock was ballet. 7 o'clock they taught karate. Rich was teaching karate back then. And then at whatever time our class started, depending on how many guys we had, we'd get the blue folding mats out of the corner.
Yeah,
And we'd unfold as many mats as you needed for that night. In terms of bags and equipment, we had a heavy bag that Rich would literally hold while you hit
people
it,
hit the bag,
because you couldn't hang it from anywhere, and that's where it all started.
We used to go to when we were really trying to run a 10th Planet. Me and JM got really pissed one time. These guys have been asking me about this one, so I know I would bring it up about we called the thing the Philly Hot Box. People are like, "What's a Philly Hot Box?" A hot box was like a thing. A hot box is actually a thing that you go in your car and smoke a lot of weed and just hotbox your car. That's what that is, right, Mike?
Yeah, that's what we used to do. My buddy had an old 70s van. His dad gutted and put shag carpet in. We used to drive around on back roads. That was our hot box.
The whip. Yeah, that's what they
Kidnap
say.
a bitch, throw her in the back.
And then I'd be like, so what do we do? And they're like, well, that was it. We're taking you home. And I'm like, what? I'm stoned out of my mind. I don't want to talk to my parents.
Yeah, in your car, it just looks like Scooby-Doo van. So, but anyways, we used to do the same thing. The reason why I brought that up is we would go down to Philadelphia and train with these guys that also wanted to, be in with 10 Planet. And one of the guys was from California. He's from California, Kevin Gibbs. And we would have to do the same thing. It was like what was that, Jim? Remember they used to give us a hard time going? We would have to park and go on to the college.
Yeah, we were sneaking on the college campuses. No mask. No mask or anything.
The back of the day, yeah. We snuck into college campuses.
Yeah, I've done that though. We'd
have to roll out the mats and put them down and train. And we took George down there with us and shit, right? That's when we were going down to Daniels.
Yeah,
We've always had to travel all over the place to train with whoever you could,
Well, to some degree, and I think you guys may know this, that actually you guys should be sending me royalties from the Eddie Bravo thing because
you had him out for that seminar.
Bring this up. This is good history right here. I like
I have a
that is crazy.
I have a short attention span with some things. So whenever I go to something or I see something like I can do that, I want to do that. And then once I do it, I kind of move on. So it was the same thing with promoting MMA. They used to have, as you guys will remember, the PGLs, the Pro Grappling League, where Gordon and Eddie Cummings and Gary and all those guys really got their first big grappling stuff.
D-Boy, him, me, John Battle, fucking everybody. Max Bonahana.
Yeah, that whole generation was through the PGL. So I saw the PGLs, and I was like, wow, I can do that.
Yeah.
We could do that in PA. So I started in COSI, which we started doing the pro grappling shows. And then my partner, Lars.
His son was in Eddie Bravo or something, right?
Yeah, he somehow hooked up with Eddie Bravo, invited Eddie Bravo out for a seminar through our company, had him at his house for the weekend. And I think that's where you guys met him. If I first really connected with Bravo was at that seminar.
Yeah.
No, I actually met him the first time. So my friends in 2001 moved out to California. Two of my buddies, Sean and my other buddy, Bill, eventually moved out. When Sean was living out there, when we first went to go when I first went out there, I stayed for like 2 weeks or some shit, and he was living with a bunch of people. And Eddie Bravo, I was like, oh yeah, I remember I watched him online and stuff, and I was like, oh man, it'd be really cool to train with Eddie Bravo. And I remember Bill asking me about it or something, and I was like, wait a minute, that's probably close to where we're at right now. And then I looked it up, and it ended up being like 0.8 miles away from where he lived, was when Eddie was teaching at Legends Gym on the corner of I don't remember, La Brea or something. And I just walked down there and took class. And he didn't really remember me because I was just like a random dude coming in. I had like shorts and a t-shirt. I was that guy. And there was like 1 million people in class at the time at Legends. And that was the one that was Boss Rutan and Randy Couture owned it. And some other guy, but they were never there. Like I was probably there 20 times maybe. And I've never seen any of those guys there, but there was a lot of crazy shit going on there. Like, I don't know, I don't even remember, like, I was in day class, I was in night class. Like, I wonder if, like, you know, Joe Rogan was in class one time or something. I don't even remember.
Then I would come all over myself if Joe Rogan was
I
there.
remember, or
oh my god,
Hanato
if Joe Rogan
Laranjo,
was there,
you know what I mean? Any of those guys, I could have been in there. I think I might have rolled once with what was that one guy's name? He was like, shit, now I can't remember. That's how cool he was. Well, whatever. Anyways,
yeah, cool. So Zach trained at 10th Planet years before that, but that Allentown seminar was like that first one, right?
Yeah.
And then we did I think was the tournament he did?
No,
what was that guy's name?
No, there was, Lars.
Yeah, Lars.
Lars.
My partner
So
Lars,
he did a tournament
right
after that where I twisted a guy, and Joel Roberts, your guy, was reffing.
Yeah, Joel was reffing there.
I twisted John Hassan, who's a Ryan Hall
Yeah, I know John.
product. Twisted him back in 2008 or some shit. I was still a white belt then, twistering guys.
I think you twisted one of my guys at Anaga once.
I might have.
One of my. I remember you beating him. And
that's when we had Twitters were big too at the time for some reason. We had Twitter, and he was the 6'10" twister or something.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not that up on that stuff, man. I'm too old.
Well,
for
I
that
remember
shit.
I just remember sharing them and trying to get get people's eyes on that shit. Like, we're fucking doing sub only out here in whatever year that was.
Yeah, well, that was like one of the first sub only tournaments that Lars did that I ever did. Because we were doing Nagas and Grapplers Quest. But
Right.
the first sub-only tournament I ever did was that one. It was at the Okano Lodge.
Yeah.
Right.
Where we
right.
had the finishers 10.
Yeah, I puked. I did 10 minutes with John Hassan, and then I puked, and then I came back and did another 10 minutes.
If I recall, we rented big wrestling mats. For
And then
that
didn't you
thing.
fight Eric Strausser?
No, I don't think Eric.
One of his guys.
His brother or something like that. I
His
had
brother.
2 matches. I had heel hooked 2 guys.
That's right.
So back in 2000 whatever. So
Yeah,
obviously I invented that shit.
because then we
It's
did
2020,
We
just
did
for
another sub-only tournament about a year or two later, and then we did one more Gym Wars, and then that was about it.
I also won a match at Gym Wars, I think.
That was the perfect time for that, though.
Thor won
Gym
a match
Wars,
at
man.
Gym Wars. That's when we were sneaking him in.
Dude, you gave me hell of an introduction, too. I posted my walkout from Gym Wars when you did it in Palmerton. You did it in that high school gym. And we were
That was
watching
another
Meta
one.
Morris.
Yeah.
And I fought Jack Hartenstein.
That's what
I was.
Oh, yeah,
You were
from
having
Chuck's
me
place.
go against Chuck's guys every time.
Yeah,
Right.
you fueled a
Gym war.
Yeah. a Gym
Yeah, you were
Wars.
starting some shit a little bit.
Yeah, no.
You were promoting the Gym Wars.
Now you guys did that yourselves, because I understand. I know both sides of that story. That was at Robson's show, and I wasn't even there.
That's right.
I was home, and I was totally innocent because I'm getting calls. I think D-Boy was there, or somebody was there. For some reason, I wasn't at that
Coachel
show.
was there. Coachel.
Oh yeah, and next thing I know, it's like, Dad, shit's blowing up between 10th Planet and Chuck's place. I'm like, oh no. I love everybody.
I thought we were going to get in a fight in a parking lot for real.
I
Yeah.
love everybody. Well, that's funny. I actually, and I think I told you guys this once, I actually started writing, and I'm going to finish at some point in time a book on this business that's called Gym Wars.
Nice.
Because what's so different now, at least from my perspective, is, and I think you guys have mellowed too, is that back in the day, it was almost necessary to be angry and to be, oh, you went to that gym, fuck you can't come back in now, blah 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 blah. And now, and I think you guys really led the way with this. I mean, Christ, I go down to your gym on Saturdays with D-Boy sometime, and there's people that I know live like 4 hours away that aren't, they're just coming in and cross training and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's neat. But back in the day, man, it was like, you went here, fuck you, you can't come back in. And you almost, it's just like you had to be angry and you had to be mean and you had to stake your territory. Maybe we didn't have to, but we did it for fun.
Yeah, I
And
got kicked out of a couple of gyms.
I was the worst. I mean, I was just, back when, and there's reasons for it. I mean, I got shit
That
on.
was the worst.
I got shit on pretty bad when I got into this business, and I post a lot about that, and people were like, "Oh, it's years ago, Nick," but it was bad. I mean, when I opened my gym, there was a point 9 months after I opened my gym where I was getting death threats at my home, and all kinds of crazy shit.
You always worked with some weird guys though. Like you never really had. You really had like some not weird, but they were always just these mountain folk. You know.
Well,
what I
he
mean? But they
embraced
were-
the misfits aspect of.
Right.
I mean, we had to do the same thing in another way. We had to take like the whole stoner, don't give a
At
fuck.
least the-
I'm not going to
the weed
do
guy
P
is, like,
crew, you know what I mean?
is heavily sedated a little bit. you
Yeah, we started out, and it was like, well, what do you know about running MMA or whatever it was, whatever we were calling it, and we didn't even the term MMA. We didn't. My first sign still said NHB on it because MMA hadn't even become the term yet. No holds barred or full contact fighting was really the words we were still using. And we started out, and I had invested what at the time seemed like a fortune into starting this thing. And the next thing I know, I'm in the middle of this international jiu-jitsu scandal about fake black belt, blah, 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 blah. I don't know shit about shit. I'm a blue belt by like 1 week. And I think Henzo gave me a blue belt because he felt sorry for me because, he's like, oh, the guy's trying.
No,
And-
no, Henzo doesn't give out blue belts like that. Come on.
Poor bastard, trying his best. Look at him. He's clearly,
You choke guys out. You still roll now though.
I do still roll.
Yeah, you're good.
I still do roll. I can fake my way through a match.
You'll be fine.
If you've never rolled with me before and don't know my 1 or 2 tricks. But so anyway, it was by 9 months in, I had no members left, 0. Because we were just, and guys were storming our dojo, so to speak. Scotty Yassin and his boys showed up one night to storm the dojo. These guys came, et cetera, et cetera. So you had 2 choices, and now of course he works for me, but that's a different story as well. You had 2 choices. You either fold up shop or you say, I'm going to rebuild this thing. And I wasn't in a position to fold up shop. So you mentioned Joel Roberts. I called Joel Roberts, who had left, and I said, listen, if you come back,
Well, who's Joel Roberts for the people that don't know? Because I feel like that guy,
Joel Roberts.
that's D-Boy's instructor, right? That's who's belting D-Boy.
Joel Roberts is Brian Miller's first black belt.
Brian Miller came to our school one time, right? I cut him.
JM kneed him in the head. Really
Yeah,
hard
I
one
pulled
time.
my knee out to triangle him. I think he was he's a cool guy, but I
He's
cut him.
a full-time teacher. I mean, he wasn't. Yeah.
Yeah, Brian. Now he's full-time, like the Mud Rudder. What's the
Tough Mudder?
Tough Mudder thing. Yeah, he's like nationally ranked in the over 35 category.
Well,
Wow.
he kicked my butt when I was a 0 belt, but I had 2 MMA fights, and he was a purple belt. He like butterfly swept me, and I couldn't figure that out. But then when he came to our school one time, I went for leg locks on him.
Yeah, he
hardcore.
didn't like that.
Yeah, no, he was mad. And
Yeah,
I could tell he was
jiu-jitsu
tough, and
changed.
then
Yeah.
JM
Jiu-jitsu's
beat him
way
in the
different
face,
now.
and then he bled and was like, I'm gonna like.
Well, dude, don't blow up his spot. I mean, he's, you know what I mean?
Brian-
You'll be like, we kicked the shit out. You know what I mean?
No,
Brian
we
was
had to
good.
go. We had to always go. You always had to do that.
Brian was amazing to watch back in the day, and still a very good friend of mine. I talk to him regularly. But yeah, the leg stuff when it came in, he had a bad knee injury at one point.
Yeah.
And like you said, he's a teacher. He's a
Right.
father of
Yeah,
3.
He's not in the game like
Yeah,
that
he's
anymore.
really
I
not
remember
in this
when I
to get-
went down there, bro. I remember I was paired up with Eric. How do you say his last name?
These stories are 20 years
Butch?
old, by the way.
Eric.
I love
of
these
this shit-
stories.
yeah, a lot of-
they're my favorite when you guys do
I was
this.
paired up with Eric, and he was mostly, he's the Muay Thai coach at the time and professional Muay Thai
He's still a good grappler.
fighter. Yeah.
People forget Eric started in grappling.
Yeah. Well, I think he might have been a blue, and I was like a
Yeah.
white belt or whatever. But I just remember like those guys being purples, and him. I didn't roll with Rich, but I rolled with Brian a lot, and he was like showing me stuff, and then they had another guy that was like I can't remember his name, but he was really good. A guy was like a tank, and he fought too out of that camp.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, if you look at a lot of the gyms in the area, they all spawn.
What was the
from,
first MMA fights? What was the first MMA fight? I mean, there was legal ones, but like, were there illegal Pennsylvania ones? Trying to think about this. the
Oh
other day.
yeah, I mean,
What was that? What was that Bama fight?
Bama.
Fucking come, dude. Illegal.
Bama was Jersey, if I recall correctly. And Eric will tell you about Bama. And he always tells the old Bama stories. Yeah. Well, and then if you remember, Ed Sue was running the shows down in Delaware.
Virginia.
And we would go to Wilmington for these shows, and there was like no regulation, no nothing. In fact, we fought in those a bunch of times. I may or may not have known about a couple smokers that took place in Scranton, where
Scranton.
where we were, or
Isn't that where Joe Biden's from?
where,
Great hot dogs.
where
Steamtown
people
Mall.
were running.
Shout out.
We would do MMA, and then we would do kickboxing,
Yeah.
and then we would do grappling, and then we would do and just run these things.
That's the ticket
all
right
night.
there. That's a good idea.
And then the commission came in, and
Yeah.
and the second smoker that I may or may not have known about was literally on my way there because I was emceeing it, and got the call, "Don't come,"
Yeah.
because the police are here and they're taking people.
It's
out.
amazing that you're not allowed to fight like in an environment like that.
Well, in
The government's got to get in on that because they know you're making money. People are going to come watch fights.
In
We
Pennsylvania,
used to pack them in.
when I started, Tiger Schulman's only really fought in Jersey. We didn't have any PA fights. The first ever MMA fights they took two of their guys to Virginia and they both lost because it was their first foray into like MMA. But they wanted to see how it would be, and they took their two best guys, Torelli and Elvis Garcia, down. They lost, but they did. They were
first
just
time doing
karate
it.
guys. You know what I mean? So they were like trying to figure it out. And Elvis was like for sure my favorite fight. He's the guy that I looked up to the most because he could grapple a little bit. He always wore the bad boy shorts, the little bad boy shorts, and I like those for some reason because they look like they were different. Everybody else wore Tiger Schulman shit. He always wore something
Right.
different, and he would just lump up a lot of the grappler guys. And he could also stand and bang with dudes too. But they always made us do kickboxing fights. The only thing we could ever fight in back in the day in Pennsylvania was boxing.
Yeah.
We did the boxing fights because that was legal, but then they didn't really have. They did call it NHB, but Jersey had. But still, though, they were making a lot of rules up as it goes. They would decide whether you would do knees. Like 5 seconds before the fight to the head. They would be
Right.
like knees or no
Yeah,
knees.
oh, I
They'd
hated
be like
that.
knees, and then the other
Yeah.
coach would be like no knees, and they'd be like, oh come
They
on.
did that to me one time
Helmets?
with the gear.
No helmets.
They're like,
Yeah.
oh, you're going to do a regular fight like normal, like with the gloves and shins and the helmets.
Right.
And then when I get there, I'm getting ready to go. They're like, oh, yeah, no gloves or no helmet and no shins. I'm like, fuck. I
that-
wasn't ready. But I won.
The one and only, and I know I got to use the term loosely because it was in a cage. The combat match D-Boy did in New York,
Yeah.
one and only because they made it illegal. Like the next week, they said no, we're never doing it again. The ref comes up, he goes, "So what are the rules?"
Yeah, they don't. I don't think the refs know.
And D-Boy's like, "Well, are you going to tell us?" And he's like, "Well, what do you want the rules to be?" And so they said, "Well, we want to do this, 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 and this. And if nobody subs, it's going to be a draw."
Right.
And it was a great match and it was fun, but they didn't know. But
D-Boy slapped the shit out of that kid.
they both did. That kid was tough. He's a nice kid, man.
Yeah, Leg Lock King. That's his Instagram.
I haven't
handle.
seen that guy in a while. He must be.
D-Boy always says if you watch the match, it depends on what you're looking for. If you're looking for jiu-jitsu, I lost.
Yeah.
If you're looking for somebody to get smacked in the face, I won.
Yeah, yeah, he definitely won that
all
aspect of it.
And that was his thing. It just wanted to smack. Well, that's what he's waiting for you to retire at some point. He wants to move into your spot, and because he loves the combat. It's all he wants to do.
Dude,
at
there's
this
a
Yeah, I
couple.
mean, but dude, this brings us up to our point. We've been trying to do this, and like, I don't like it in a cage. I just want to see matches on a mat, or even a ring or whatever.
Well, we were close.
It's just crazy how you can't play with it at all. Like everyone has to do it how the UFC does it, and it's got to be in line with that. It upsets me.
Well, Zach and I were making some progress on that, and then COVID came in, and we.
That's right.
And we, because I think I had Delaware. I actually have it written down somewhere, and maybe Maryland. The commissioners were talking to me,
Yeah.
and were being receptive to it, and then COVID came in, and of course,
Yeah,
the
a lot of shit.
the world ended. But going back to your question about Joel Roberts, it's you, and that's the other thing that is neat about you guys is that you've been around forever. There's a lot of guys out there that, it's like I think you were talking about the GOAT conversation on Facebook, which I'm ready to shoot myself if I have to see that anymore. And it's like, do you guys know anybody in this business before Matt Hughes? Like, it's like, oh, this guy's the GOAT. How could he possibly be the GOAT?
Well, Rogan's been like that forever. All the newest,
Khabib
whoever
is
the
the
newest
GOAT.
guy is the GOAT to everybody.
Yeah, Rogan's also the guy that said, "Welcome to the Machida era," and then the next
Yeah,
match,
Ronda Rousey can knock out Floyd
Oh,
Mayweather.
welcome to the
Machida.
Rogan's a retard, dude. Everyone knows that.
The Machida era.
Everyone knows Rogan's a
I got
retard.
in a fight with
He's
him
be a
too.
fucking idiot.
I got in a fight with Joe Rogan back on the underground.
On the
forum.
underground?
I did.
Damn, the
I did.
underground.
I went.
Oh, I forgot about the underground.
Everybody is, even the sports commentators a couple years ago, was like a new thing. Every guy who's the new guy is the greatest of
Yeah.
all time.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, go ahead. The underground.
Well,
Yeah.
the underground. I went to we were going to UFCs when they were in the showroom on the Taj Mahal that
Yeah.
sat like 4,000 people. I mean, I always tell the story. I forget, 30, 31, 32 in that number range. I sat between Mark Kerr and Don Fry. D-Boy was a little kid.
The Predator. I love that guy.
Oh, this is a great line, because Don, and I don't think I'm telling tales out of school, has never met a beer that he hasn't.
Oh, yeah,
he hasn't
no.
enjoyed. So we're sitting there all night and he was drinking, and I had brought D-Boy, and at the time D-Boy was like 7 years old, and nobody back. This wasn't a family thing back then.
Yeah, no fights were.
There were no kids at this thing, and he goes, "Oh man, I can't believe you brought your kid." I said, "Oh, can you get your autograph?" He was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Wow, that's great you brought your kid." I said, "Well, I just tell him it's all fake, like pro wrestling. He's into pro wrestling." Don Fry leans over to me and goes, "Let me tell you, son, some of it is." Because he was doing
Yeah.
he was doing pride fights at the
Yeah.
time, and
Wow.
half of them were works. He's
Yeah.
like, "Some of it is." But back then, you didn't have the opportunity to fight that you had now. So when
Yeah.
we started to rebuild the gym, I decided we needed to make a definitive statement. I had this kid, Joe Roberts. At the time, he was in his early 20s, just a wrestler from the area.
What school did he wrestle from?
I want to say Lee Heighton or Jim
Oh,
Thorpe
nice.
or one of them.
Dude, the guy's a tank. The guy is a
Lee
tank.
Heighton or Jim Thorpe, right?
Like Heckman's
a
Scott Heckman, Mike, right?
Absolutely.
banger. Yeah.
Yeah, so he's like a Scott Heckman type build, but at 35.
Yeah, well,
They fought, right?
They did fight. I'll follow up on that one. So anyway, King of the Cage was our first fight, pay-per-view. King of the Cage in Michigan. So we literally flew to Michigan.
Voter fraud.
Yeah. What the fuck happened to Michigan?
Voter
Oh,
fraud.
sorry,
My daughter's
Sorry.
living out there. She's locked up in her apartment. She's afraid to leave, I
Yeah.
think, with all the shit going on out there. But so we flew to Michigan, and King of the Cage was very well set up that they had their guys, and then they had the guys they brought in to lose
Fight,
to
yeah,
their
exactly,
guys.
Yeah, I remember
So
that back in the day.
we're in the dressing room, and guys are literally laughing at us. They're like, what do you guys really think you're going to win? We're like, well, yeah. It's like, well, how many fights does your guy have? I'm like, none. He's like, well, how many fights did your gym have? I'm like, none. He's like, dude, you're not going to win. I'm like, no, I think we're going to. He's like, we're all here to lose. You don't understand this. This is a setup. Because in the other dressing room is Miles Jury and like guys like that, or in the other dressing room, we're in this one. And long story short, 25 seconds in, we get an arm bar and a tap, and we're no longer being laughed at. And that's really where we came back to Pennsylvania. And it kind of turned the tide for the gym. It's like, holy shit, because nobody was fighting.
Right.
There were no fights, and certainly nobody around here that I know of was fighting on pay-per-view in their first show. So that really, really set us off and kind of got us some legitimacy. And then exactly what you said, John, I brought in just tough farm boy wrestlers like Brett Martinez and guys like that who maybe weren't as polished and as pretty, but man,
Yeah, get the job done.
they did.
Right.
And I remember guys, when are you going to teach? Because Martinez's thing was to shoot in, take you down, and knee the shit out of you till you rolled over and he'd choke you out. We did it like 7 times in a row. And one time we were riding the bus from the venue back to the parking lot, and guys yelling at me, like, when are you going to teach your boys some new tricks? I'm like, well, when you guys figure that one out, we'll come up with another one. But
Yeah.
for right now, it's working. And we went from there. But Joe Rogan, so going back to the UFCs, there was small UFCs, and when Joe started commentating, I had brought both my kids one time, and my daughter was like 4, and she was adorable, and he was back there, and I'm like, hey, Joe, can you wave to the kids? And blah, blah, and he wouldn't. So, I'm just being a dick. And like the next week, someone's like, Joe Rogan, blah, blah. I said, that guy's kind of a fucking dick. I brought my kids to the thing. Next thing you know, Rogan's on there. I'm not allowed to do things. I have to go by the regulations of the command. It's like, at me. I'm like, oh, shit. I just started shit with Joe Rogan. So I'm like,
They need to
Well, I'm
put-
glad
the
I'm
underground
glad we're
used to
still
be
at
so
it.
cool.
yeah.
I'm happy we're still at it.
The underground was also where they used to. I think the thread about my gym was up there for I want to say 18 months, and was like 39 pages by the time it got done.
Well, you talked a lot of shit because you're from Palmerton, Pennsylvania. So you were trying to
I got to make a name.
get attention, right?
I tried to do it the nice way. When I opened the gym, I opened a nice little family martial arts center and tried to do it the nice way. You
and
shit
then
on
start fighting and
You shit on me.
cages.
We went to our first Naga. We took D-Boy and Joe Roberts. And Joel, I think, had been training for like, I don't know, a month or 2. He got caught in an arm bar. So, I mean, I don't know if this is nice to say, but He slammed out of it. The only problem was, A, you're not allowed to slam, and B, he carried the guy off the mat first and then slammed him onto the concrete,
Yeah.
and that was like, we're out of there. D-Boy went in and started leg locking these little kids, and the ref kept starting the match over because like, oh, you can't do that. Okay, then we did something else. Oh, you can't do that, and he was like neck cranking and doing stuff.
Yeah, D-Boy's a little animal.
Yeah, it was
If
little
you're not like pushing the limits at some of these tournaments, I mean, sometimes, I mean, you're not hurting the other person necessarily.
It's a grappling tournament.
You got to be able to do stuff.
Yeah, at the time
Yeah.
I wasn't even thinking about the tournament. It was we were being literally mocked.
Yeah.
Which was a huge blow to my ego.
Because you weren't a affiliate or anything like
yeah,
that.
we were hey, you had a
Or
fake
back
black
in the
belt.
day, if you weren't even from a Brazilian lineage, as
Yeah,
crazy as
yeah.
it was they would look at you.
Yeah,
weird.
I
Like,
got-
Tiger Schulman's took so much shit going to grappling tournaments. You
Still,
know what
I think they still do to this
Yeah,
day.
yeah,
I think
I-
10th Planet still does.
Yeah,
I
dude.
got-
Remember the whole one where they threw? I don't know if you were. It was in that one book that you guys.
Yeah, I was gonna bring that story up when he bounced out of Grappler's Quest.
Yeah, exactly. Like one time a guy got slammed and the ref called it a slam, and then Tiger complained and he was like, "That wasn't a fucking slam," and he's like, they're like, "That was a slam." Like the kid tried to go. This is how many years? Like 20 years. He tried to sit up and go for a hip bump sweep. Mike Stein pushed him down to the mat, and they called it a slam. And he was just, I mean,
Yeah,
Mike
Matt
Stein
Serra
is like
was
a
on the
fucking-
mat, and
yeah,
Tiger
people
Schulman
are
were getting into
arguing
it.
each other, and like, yeah, and they're like,
It was
"That's
like the
it,
Wild
everybody."
West. It was the golden
Dude,
era right
Brian Simmons had to write. They ran out of cash. Brian Simmons had to write people checks that were like, "We want our money back now," and he's writing out personal checks and shit. Yeah, it was crazy. Hey, we're running a tournament this weekend, so don't. We ain't giving out checks.
But yeah, I mean, it was.
there. No refunds.
I don't apologize for it. And you talk about Scott Heckman. Scott Heckman and I are tremendous friends. I love him dearly. Love his family.
You sponsored him multiple times.
But yeah, and yeah, I went to his last couple fights. I sponsored him. At one point in time, we weren't so friendly, and that was mainly because he and Joe were it was him, Joe, and Jimmy Hedges were all coming up at the same time locally, and Jimmy was always a kind of a notch ahead of them. He'd started a little bit earlier, was fighting bigger fights, so you knew Jimmy was going. But these guys were on a parallel course. And if I recall it correctly, what happened was we were originally supposed to fight, and then Joel got sick or something, so we had to cancel it. And then I wanted to do it, fight again. I don't think Scott was really into doing it again. So, I mean, it got unnice at some point.
what
in time.
event was that? Did they fight at? Eventually?
PA cage fight. PA
Yeah, I
cage
did a
fight.
couple of those.
Yeah. It was a great fight. I mean, Scott beat the piss out of Joel for a while, and then Joel's a tough son of a bitch, man. And then Joe clocked him and ultimately finished him. Because if Joe puts you in a submission, you're going to tap. You're going to tap. I don't care who you are. He is the strongest person of that size I've ever encountered.
At 135, he's that small. I haven't seen
Dude,
him in a
he's-
long time. I forget how big he is.
Well,
Yoked.
when D-Boy started rolling with you guys, he goes, "Dad, I think I found somebody as strong as Joel." It was Thor.
Yeah.
He goes,
Wow.
But Thor's walking it,
Unbelievable.
Yeah. His body, I mean, that's the thing. Like, that's what I think some guys from, like, if you're from a soft area, no disrespect to people in soft areas, but if you're from like a,
Dude, this is Pennsylvania, bro.
you're from an area that you're not going to match up. The guys who are pussies out here are kind of tough. You know what I mean? Some of the guys, I mean, then you look at like people like that and you just look at their hands and you're like, God dang, like that fucking guy is like Thor is like, he's so crazy the way, not even just how big he is, but like you could see, multiple people have been like, dude, you know what I mean? Like
Yeah, his strength is something else. Like you're not ready for something
when he
like
grabs you, it's like, holy shit.
that. But yeah, Joel, I'd love to meet Joel. I know you guys are having that seminar. You probably want to plug that.
Yeah, he's a good guy, and he's been like you guys. He's been around forever. So we did King of the Cage.
Yeah, when is that thing though? When is
The 21st.
of November?
Yeah.
That's 3 weeks, 2 weeks.
3 weeks. Yeah. And the thing about Joel that's also interesting is he has fought Miles Jury,
Tons of guys. Yeah, if you look at the records.
Aljamain Sterling, Jimmy Rivera, Jeff Lentz. There was a while we couldn't watch a UFC without one of Joel's opponents being on the card.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy? And then guys like that
Yeah.
didn't go to UFC. That's
Right.
BS, dude. But back in the day, even in Jersey, there were so many guys that were so good. But, the guys that they wanted, it's just like everything. The guys that they wanted to go made it big. And then, you know, there were guys like you'd watch them and they never really fought anybody on the local cards. They never fought anyone tough. So the record's like protected, and then they got to UFC and did okay. Whereas I think guys like that probably would have really made a dent.
I thought
You know?
I thought either him or Scott would go.
Eventually, yeah. I mean, they had 30. I mean, how many professional fights they got?
I cornered Scott against Bill Algeo, main event of Ring of Combat. So we were just talking about all those stories. I was in the corner with Scott, and then it's me, Tiger Schulman, and Matt Serra in the back talking shop. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm having an argument with Matt Serra about jiu-jitsu. I was like, this is pretty cool. And but yeah, Scott was again, like, you know what I mean? You said like he was like on the rise. That was 15 years ago. He was on the rise, and then he's in main event Ring of Combat. One for a UFC spot. Bill Algeo's in the UFC. Just fought. And then Bill Algeo goes to the UFC. He's from Pennsylvania. He gets Ricardo Lamas first round.
Right.
Because you're at the
He
lighter
looked
weights.
good though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He
looked
crushed.
great. He looked
You have to
great.
be if you're good from here. If you're from the Northeast, you have to be.
Yeah, and Bill back in the day kickboxed Jim Garzillo in matches,
Right,
like
right,
straight
right, right.
Muay Thai matches.
I
you
was,
know what I mean?
I was at that Heckman fight, but we fought Bill as well. Unfortunately, Joel fought Bill at a time where we were fighting really because we were looking for a paycheck that day. Joel had some personal stuff.
Yeah.
And was looking for it's a shame. I'm not saying that the outcome would have been different. Maybe it would, if but a younger Joe Roberts.
Bill's well over 6 foot.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm probably taller than Joel.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Joel's my height. Yeah. Joel's
Yeah.
my height. But the other way, you know, the other thing I'm surprised is that more guys from here didn't make the Ultimate Fighter, because I know a lot of them tried out.
Yeah.
I thought
You had to have a thing like how you know, Matt. You know, you had to be like an interesting character. You know,
Ricky Petishnak went out. I thought he would have made it because I always thought he was an interesting
Yeah.
kid. You know, he had a good look. He just stylish. Always showed up and dressed up.
And didn't he
and
beat like some of the Gracies? He beat like two Gracies in
he-
MMA fights,
and,
right?
and he was going right off of that to the Ultimate Fighter.
Yeah.
Didn't make it. I was surprised. I've been to 3 tryouts. That was always interesting. And when I look back now at the guys that were trying out when I was there, it's crazy. You know, I was there when Junie Browning tried out. I was there. You know,
Oh yeah, that guy. He went to Thailand. That was the end of him, right? That was it.
You
I don't know.
you see
I
these
don't
guys. I remember Felipe Nova was walking around in a bathrobe back.
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
You know, like you
Smart
just
move, yeah.
recognized them. You know, and then everybody started doing shtick. Like guys were coming in Spider-Man outfits. And,
Mm-hmm.
But I remember the first tryout. It was so funny. We were out in the lobby in this hotel in Jersey, and you remember Tommy Waltermeyer, guys like that from Carmelo's.
Yeah, I had him on the
Carmelo's-
podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was out there. These other guys are out there. Dana White comes out and he slams open the door. He goes, "Motherfuckers, this show is 180 pounds. If you haven't seen 180 pounds since 6th grade, I don't know what the fuck you're doing here. You're not getting on the show." Close the door. Nobody leaves. They all like. There's guys literally like 300 pounds, and they've all got their magazines they were in. They've got their belts with them, and they're all sitting out there. And Dana's like, "What are you people doing here? This is a 180-pound show."
It brings out the fucking maniacs.
He was
Dude.
furious. He's like, "Guys,
Like a Tia's out there, probably.
yeah, they're just huge guys out there, man." And but that was always a fun process. And then we went to Boston for one, and it's always neat.
I sent in a video for one of those back in the day. I don't remember
Well,
which
they're
one.
bringing it back.
Yeah.
They're bringing it back, and you know, it lost its muster after a while. But at the early days, man, that show was fun. I
Dude,
still
I was
watch
like,
the old ones.
I was like 3-1, and I thought I could get on, and I did not. And then Brian McLaughlin got on.
yeah.
He sent in a video same way, and they called him back. He got on. He was a beast. Now, obviously, he's a little more. Yeah, he was fighting a bunch. He was fighting in sport fighting. Remember
He's also
McLaughlin back in the day, dude?
He's also better.
Yeah, he
looking
beat
than you.
Ryan
Yeah,
Hall,
that's
beat
true.
Jeff Glover.
Let's be honest. He's also prettier than you are.
Yeah, that's true.
If you don't think that counts, you don't.
Yeah, that
understand.
is crazy,
I mean, he
right?
does. He's got a good-looking guy, you know.
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
what? He was winning the fight. Didn't he win the fight? But he got his nose. I can't remember. He got
Yeah,
his
he
nose
won,
broken
and
or
he was just
something.
like, "This isn't."
Yeah,
for
he
me."
got bounced. He got bounced at the announcement when they started picking the teams. I think he got bounced because he came in. He said bad news. I think there was 2 of them got kicked out because
Yeah.
they both had nose fractures.
Brian has helped us out a lot, man. Shout out to him. He's also coach for Jim Miller. And think about Jim Miller. Jesus, how many fights and how many submissions, and you know.
Well, Brian-
and he
Brian's-
believes in. He's come to every Eddie Bravo seminar.
And I was thinking about this at Noggin the other day. Brian's one of those guys, and it's so funny because I'm 55 years old, and you would think I'd be past all this in my life. I get shy around. But like, I know these guys, and I know they know me.
Yeah.
Because I see them on Facebook and whatnot, and we see each other at like every fight, every show. We're literally like 2 inches away from each other, et cetera. And it's just, I get weird when I know who people are and I haven't said hello before. So now I'm like kind of freaked out to say it now. It's kind of like asking somebody their name when you should know their name. You know, say, hey, by the way, we've been, together for 3 hours. What's your name? You know?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
But,
do that a lot. Yeah.
Yeah,
I'm
so
terrible with names.
I tend to get shy with people. I just don't want to bother people and whatnot. But yeah, I see him all the time on the circuit. He's an impressive guy. But
Yeah, he's the man.
a lot of guys like that. Like, I just don't want to.
I just like when, people, most things with these stories, I want people to understand, like, listen to all the guys we're talking about. They've literally been around for 10, 15 years before they started to even get their break.
Yeah.
Some of them, So some guys think it's going to come so quick, and some people it does, and they're lucky. But
It's
other people just got to keep that grind going and just keep.
It's a shame because a lot of people miss
Training.
their opportunities.
Well, you gotta like
yeah.
it. You gotta like it. If you're doing it for an opportunity, a fast opportunity,
not gonna happen.
it's a long line.
Well, yeah,
It's the same thing, like you said. Like, I mean, how many guys come up to me? I mean, with the combat jiu-jitsu thing, that's. I probably only got a couple combat jiu-jitsu matches left in me. Probably this might be my last one. I don't know. I don't know. Nothing's guaranteed, right? But
So you guys did it right, though. You guys are making a business out of it, and you've done it the right way. I've always worried about fighters and these young guys, and I've lectured a lot of
Yeah,
them.
we've talked about that
and
before,
appropriately, that what are you doing with it? Where are you going with it? If you're doing it because you love it, that's terrific. If you're doing it because you think you're going to be the next Gordon Ryan, you're going to be posting you're selling your house for $1.25 million off of grappling proceeds, that's unrealistic.
He's selling his house?
Yeah, I posted this morning.
Really?
Yeah, I guess he's moving. I don't know.
breaking news: Gordon Ryan is selling his house. Squirt,
Jersey.
squirting. I'm squirting all over myself. Gordon Ryan.
Dude, I'm
Bunch of fucking
record
fanooks,
that. Record that with his face right up here, and then we'll make him
Squirt.
I switched over. So you
People are
definitely
going to be
got
getting
it.
out of Jersey. Jersey's
Dude,
fucked.
fuck
Yeah.
all these places. Dude, seriously.
New York too. That's why
We
I'm
want to get
interested.
political? Is that what we want to do?
I'm surprised
That's why
we haven't.
that's why I'm interested to see people. I'm interested to see where people start moving. I wouldn't be surprised if he moves to PA because it's not as bad. But New York, if you live in New York and New Jersey and you're surrounded by those other states that have way less taxes. Right? That doesn't make sense.
I'd suspect-
$1.2 million house. That's how much you fucking
You
own.
gotta watch Gay Sex in the
Gotta
Street
sell that
and pay
shit. Get out of
mad
there,
taxes.
dude.
You know what I'm saying?
I'd suspect Gordon's trolling a little bit.
Dude's getting-
Moving.
You don't think he's selling it?
No, Gordon's a good showman.
Dude's getting cornholed down the avenue
I mean,
there.
remember he did. So
It's not nice.
speaking of
It's
Gordon
okay.
Ryan, he
Feels
did. What was the first? I mean, he was doing Nagas and stuff, but
He
you,
was- well,
you put him on back in the day.
yeah,
He was
I-
on Gym Wars.
I-
He fought Mello at Gym Wars.
I met Gordon originally not at the PGLs, but at the AGL,
Oh,
the
okay,
Amateur Grappling League, which was their submission
Yeah, I remember
tournament.
that,
And I remember this kid walking in, and I think he was 16 or 17 or something like that. And D-Boy and I were there, and I said, this kid has got some potential,
D-Boy faced him.
Yeah, D-Boy. Well, D-Boy fought him in the PGLs because nobody else would. And they said, we can't get a match for Gordon. Dude's like, I'll fight him.
He tried to jump guillotine
Yeah,
him too.
he's like, I'll fight him. I don't care,
They were like in the ropes. And shit.
But so I saw Gordon and I knew he had a lot of potential. So I started contacting him about putting him on my shows. He did, I think, 2 or 3 of my shows. I was trying to put together, talking about guys that made it to the UFC, I was trying to put together Gordon versus Joe Selecki. Because D-Boy had lost to Joe Selecki that year. And
that
I
guy's
knew
probably tough. I lost to Joe Selecki.
Joe
once.
Selecki's a tough guy. And I was trying to put that together. And right when I was trying to put that together, Joe started going MMA.
Yeah.
And so I kept in touch with Gordon that way and kept him on my shows. And then, of course, he fought Carmelo on one of my shows.
There was a 4-man tournament at one of those PGLs. I think it was like Padilla, James Gonzalez, Gordon Ryan, and maybe one more person.
Yeah.
And I don't know who. Maybe someone beat him. I forget.
There was also, I know there was one with Cockle and Battle.
Yeah, I mean, John Battle started on that shit
Yeah,
too.
a lot of people did. Crazy. Eddie
That's the one-
Cummings. Eddie
yeah.
Cummings was on every card.
Yeah, that's the one where I knocked the guy off the ropes too. Were you at that one? I knocked the cameraman off the ropes because I was doing the Hulk
Probably.
Hogan shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I heard a kid too. There was like a little kid that was like,
Yeah, that was sorry.
that sucked. That was terrible.
Bad
It,
taste.
it lasted till like 4 a.m. and stuff. Remember?
Yeah.
that was the night.
Ugh.
I competed on that one against Gene Berger at 3 a.m.
Good matches though. Like
Yeah.
dudes would fly
Oh,
out for
yeah.
that.
Hell yeah.
I think what the one match I saw Max Bonahan fight one of David not Torelli.
Johnson.
No, Brazilian guy, Dave.
Dave.
No. Fuck, one of his guys. That was a great. And then he was passing his guard so hard he puked afterwards. And then there was Sean Roberts. Remember Sean Roberts?
Yep.
He did.
Gary Tonin was in that shit too.
Yeah, and then like guys from the West Coast would come out and they were like, "This guy's really good," and they would fight where we fight and would get smoked.
By a
It
no-name
was-
guy, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was
James
it was
Gonzalez.
Tom DeBlas's guys were there. Dante Rivera always
Mm-hmm.
had his guys there. The guys from South Jersey, VJ.
Well, look at New
were there,
Jersey;
and
it's
Brunswick.
covered in Gracie schools.
Yeah, they
you
were
go
all
in New
there.
Jersey, there's jujitsu schools all over the place. Pennsylvania, not really like that.
One time we tried to drive to a PGL, couldn't find it, got 7-Eleven, drove home.
Yeah, that
and,
sucked.
and it was pre-Death Squad, so those guys were still on the circuit.
The Death Squad with Jesus. I'm gonna swear it. I just had to do it. Fucking coming. I fucking coming, dude.
It's harder to give someone a
can't-
black belt. I'm gonna come.
You can't name another guy or he gets upset. He's not naming me.
I wasn't bringing them up out of.
I spit all over the mic. Sorry, bro.
Wasn't trying to inspire ejaculation. That was.
Dude, you can't mention any of that stuff,
My-
or I come in my pants every time. I can't help it.
He's quick
get
on
on
the
Reddit.
draw. He's quick
It
on the
was
draw.
it was actually a criticism because I think if I understand the hierarchy of that organization now, you can't be on the same show and this, that, and the other. Whereas back in the day, these guys there was like 5 of them on the same show because they weren't doing the A, B, C team. et cetera,
I
et
think they're
cetera.
slowly starting to let up on that. Some of the guys probably complained or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. I
They
don't,
lodged a complaint to the big boss and
The politics,
the
I
big
don't-
man.
I don't
Save
get
10
it.
for the big man.
Yeah, I don't know how all that works, but that's been a whole unraveling saga.
Yeah, remember that? I mean, they've been people have been out.
Well,
doing their
people,
thing,
yeah, people.
They
I
wanna
mean,
talk
Gary
shit,
Tonin
they
had to
don't
go
know.
to ADCC and lose to Chrome Gracie by a razor thin margin to get noticed by anybody.
Yeah.
Like people were like, we knew Gary Tonin when he was doing Lloyd Irvin brown belt
Mm-hmm.
thing. Like he was that guy. Just that brown belt tournament where like Lloyd did all that. Remember
Yeah.
that shit? Like Sean Roberts,
Yeah,
Gary
yeah.
Tonin, Keenan was. That's when Keenan was still at Lloyd's.
One of the Meow Brothers or something.
I don't think the Meows were in that. It was like he did like an Ultimate Fighter show
Oh,
on
that's
YouTube,
right.
and
That's
it was
right.
like that was cool that first time.
I do remember that.
The one
yeah.
dude was like getting real pissed because he kept losing. Like he lost every match
Yeah.
at the brown belt. That sucks to be
They
the
had
worst
to do
fucking guy.
gi and then they had to do no gi too.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
I do remember that.
Yeah, I forgot about Lloyd Irvin. Jeez, there's another player in the game. They got-
You know,
We were
One
talking
time-
about Lloyd Irvin, just how most schools run their marketing that same old way
Yeah.
from that one guy.
Yep. Lloyd Irvin's still making cash off that. One time, little known fact, one time after one of the reality fightings, I think it was Reality Fighting 5, I fought in Wildwood Convention Center and I used to get everybody hotels at the Starlux Hotel, which is like right down the street.
name.
And they used to have a party on there was like a big top suite that was in the middle. They would have a big party up there. One time, you guys can look up, you don't have to listen to me, just look up the allegations levied towards Lloyd Irvin. One time, like,
Hey
that's what
man,
I'm
why
saying.
you got to bring up old shit? dude?
One time, well, listen, I'm kind of incriminating myself. If anyone's like, he used to hang out with Lloyd Irvin. I actually went to the party afterwards 'cause I was there by myself and was hanging out, smoked a blunt with
Loser.
Lloyd Irvin. He was sitting there with like he had like almost like a velour like suit on, was like had the gold
need
chain. He
more.
was drinking, and I just remember he like handed me this thing, and I was like, oh no, Lloyd Irvin. But at the time, it wasn't like
Well, that's how you knew you were gonna be a star, dude.
Yeah.
Right when Lloyd
I'm
Irvin
like, damn, Lloyd Irvin's handing me that.
passed me the blunt, dude.
That was like kind of like when what was that in the back of the day with the
That's like Nick
football
handing you
guy?
a microphone. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like if Nick hands you a microphone,
Yeah,
it's
the
like
fuck. Well, this weekend we have a finishers tournament, and honestly, the finishers really spawned off, a lot of the shit that you were doing back in the day, and all that shit.
Well,
You know what I mean?
I think Finishers has been a neat event, and
Seth Daniels. Seth Daniels said the other day to us that like, oh, I've never seen one. I'm like, really, Seth Daniels? You never seen a finishers? You've done 12 of them now. It's all good. I don't want to blow up our, you know what I mean?
We've had 4. This is our 4th open. and we've had 12 events, so
Yeah,
I find
no,
that hard to believe.
You guys definitely, and I've said this to you before, so I'm not just bullshitting you. I mean, I'm already in the room. I don't need to get in here. You guys took the ball and ran with it, and that's getting back to what I was saying. Worrying about some of these younger guys. It's like, okay, what are you doing with this?
Yeah.
You're 23. You're teaching jujitsu
Yeah,
at
you have
somebody
3
else.
years of health insurance
Yeah,
left.
you're teaching somebody at jujitsu at somebody else's gym, and you're competing like 90 times a month for free.
And you're not tapping the heel hooks.
I'm not sure where this is
Yeah.
Right.
going.
Me and him talked
You
about
know?
this before. Yeah.
You guys have done. You guys took what others started and have taken it in a new direction. And someday somebody will take it beyond what you have.
Mm-hmm.
But my guess is that whoever does that is going to be an offshoot of your organization, because you're doing just what we're doing right here.
Mm-hmm.
I always wanted to do one of these, but you never had the time and inclination to do it. You guys had the balls to literally say, "Look, we're going to take what we love." And look, you're both terrific martial artists. We know that, but you weren't going to make $1 million, fighting in PA cage fight or this, that, and the other thing. So you took it in the right direction. And I think it's amazing. And I think, the tournament is just an offshoot of that. I mean, D-Boy's been on as many finishers as he could, and we love it. And it's just an honor to be on there.
He did he beat Silver Fox guy last time.
John Vina.
Less than 30 seconds. Crushed it.
Yeah, but it broke the finisher's curse for us because we hadn't been doing so well.
Yeah,
on
but he
finishers.
fought like Damon Anderson, right? He's had
Yeah,
some
we
tough
went to
goes.
overtime with Damien, and he fought Seth Smith as a
that's
blue
right.
belt.
Well, see, that's
He almost beat Seth Smith.
Yeah.
He put some work on Seth Smith.
Yeah.
It was a nice match.
that was the think about that. The first,
That was
the
one.
first ever finishers. Yeah, we gathered pretty much every guy that we could that was any good from all those your events, PGL, Nagas, whoever. And I was really stingy on that piece, and that pretty much had everybody who's still in it today or running crews, which is really crazy. I mean, Frankie went against Mike Main, Andrew Kochel went against Mike Main. Obviously
Davila.
JM was in it, Mike Davila was in it, D-Boy was in it, Seth Smith, Gordon Ryan, Thor was in it.
Yeah, and I think that's where
yeah.
you and I really got to get better acquainted, because I kept blowing up your phone. I'm like, dude, put my son in the show.
Yeah,
You're like,
I know,
dude,
yeah.
it's black belts. I'm like, I don't care. Give him a black belt.
Yeah. But then I was like, I was like, dude, we can't have this without, Andrew Kochel and without, Dylan in it. It'd be stupid too. Those guys have been putting on a million. I mean, I had to go against
It's amazing
Andrew
those guys
when-
are still so young. I mean,
Yeah.
D-Boy's 26, right?
Yeah,
25.
he just turned 26 last week.
And then Coach was 22.
Yeah,
What
Coach
the
was a baby.
fuck?
That's what I'm saying. I fought pretty much Frankie battle. I never fought Dylan in a match. I went against Kocho when he was like 15, and I had to just hold him down and just be like, "Oh, I'm going to win by points," because the kids started getting big. I'm like, "Holy crap, man! These guys are fucking kids are getting good, dude."
Yeah, the game definitely passes you by.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
We get offered Andrew just about once a month, and they won't fight at this point.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah,
he would-
I wouldn't
he would never-
fight D-Boy or Andrew unless like I got
it's too much, dude. We've been all training together too much, and it's really locally we're not. You're not winning the championship by beating the local guy anymore. It's like, we gotta. The more of us to train together, the better. We'll take on people from other states
Yeah.
and shit. There's so many guys out there. It's not even,
So the tournament this weekend it's an open, right?
Yep.
Frederick, Maryland.
Yeah, it's in Maryland, which is cool because we haven't done one in Maryland, and we're doing a 170 and under for $1,000, and then just a bunch of divisions, and people are all about it. People are fired up. They want to compete.
You'll get some Lloyd Irvin guys there, because that's where.
Yeah, but it's
Taylor
sub only.
Hiller
We'll
out of-
see.
Yeah, it's maybe I don't
Sub
have.
only.
There's nobody from Lloyd Irvin signed up yet, so
They're not the sub only.
a lot of guys don't want to do sub only. But who knows? There's
They
still a
weren't
couple of
they,
days.
they weren't at Naga either yesterday
We have-
or Saturday, which is interesting because they're
Yeah,
usually
but Jamil
there.
and all those guys, they're like
yeah,
Jamil was in the Abu Dhabi. He's not
No,
gonna
but
be mad at
they'd
them.
still come coach though.
Yeah, no, they're there at every one. Yeah, they got tons of
they
kids,
still
yeah.
come coach.
Cool.
And Malachi still goes in. He went against what's the Deagle?
Rob Deagle,
He
yeah,
went
yeah,
against
I saw
Rob
that,
Deagle
yeah.
down in
Rob
Wildwood
Diggle
last
on the
time.
squirt. Oh,
that's what I'm saying.
on the squirt.
The finishers, there's a lot of divisions where you're going to get some really good matchups, and sometimes at Naga you might not get any good matchups where you might get a guy like that. But then some Nagas I've seen you go
Dude,
through
I've
that
seen
big
Nagas
one
that
where
are
it's
fucking
packed.
deep as hell.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I hate that. I was talking about that the other day because everyone just gets all uppity about IBJJF, and like they just it's just a lot of. they promote better. Naga don't really promote people that do their tournament ever.
Right.
You know,
Right.
so like I'll go twister people at Naga, and like I got to deal with heel hooks and all different types of like Naga takes the mixed martial arts aspect
Yeah.
kind of more into effect, where IBJJF is strictly jujitsu. Kind
Right.
of strictly jujitsu, but
Yeah.
I don't like the whole I got to get my paperwork signed off by
Yeah,
somebody.
yeah,
Like fuck that, I'm not doing any of
it's,
that.
It's all a little weird and restricted. I'm not a big fan either. I mean, when you guys, when we were doing it, it was Naga or Grappler's Quest.
Mm-hmm.
You either went one direction or the other. And I'll be honest, the reason I went with Naga was because at that point in time, my kids were little. I had a lot of little kids competing, and I always felt that Naga was a little more family atmosphere than Grappler's Quest. Grappler's Quest had some tough people.
It
man.
had more for
I-
the kids, Naga. For
yeah,
sure,
I remember being in bathrooms at Grappler's Quest and being like really happy that Eric Gutch was like 5 feet away from me because it was like,
Yeah, no,
this
it was-
gang's over here and this, and
Yeah.
I'm talking gangs. I'm not talking groups. I'm talking. It was like this guy's got a swastika on his back this big, and he's peeing next to a guy
Sick, dude.
that's probably not happy about that.
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
like, holy shit.
Well, Grappler's Quest, I mean, it's funny because the guy who owned Grappler's Quest, Brian, he was really into religion and church. He's like
Yeah.
a big guy, and there were always fights there and stuff.
yeah,
There was way more fights.
Fights broke out all the
Yeah.
time.
Tiger Showman almost got into it with Henzo Gracie at the one, like you brought up before, and then there was that big walkout, and then
But everybody, and this is what I mean, I hate a lot of shit about the business and social media and whatnot, but people shit on Naga. I understand some of their points, but what they forget is if you look at and not to use my son's example, but look at my son's as an example. He's fought John Holland. He's
Oh,
fought
thank you.
he's fought Taylor Hill twice. He's fought Malachi Edmond 3 times. Junio Casio has been in his division. He's fought
Yeah.
the Naples brothers. I mean, he's fought some. So if you say, "Well, Naga sucks," dude,
Yeah,
look-
you're an idiot.
Look
Not
at
out here, it doesn't.
Look at
if I see Naga in like Arizona or fucking middle of nowhere.
he fought Chris Tran 3 times.
Yeah.
Chris Tran is now world champion. Taylor Hill is now world
Well,
champion.
where do you think that's what
I mean,
I
that's some
don't?
of
That's
our-
what our a lot of guys don't understand. Where do you think the guys are getting experience? They didn't just get good at tournaments by doing the best tournament. They had to do all these little things to work your way up.
Well, yeah, because people will go on Gordon Ryan's Instagram and hear him talk shit on Naga because he won Abu Dhabi,
Right,
and they're like, "I'm not doing Naga."
he
that's
talks shit
for-"
on Naga.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, you're a Naga champ."
Oh, come
It's like,
on,
come on,
dude.
bro. Well, yeah, no,
You gotta
but
win
he's
that.
right. I
right,
get
he's
it.
right, but you got to win that first, though.
Yeah.
he won Naga too.
Oh,
dude.
Jesus, Gordon Ryan's
Yeah.
talking. Oh, I'm gonna come.
But
he
if,
went against Mickey Gall at like a Naga.
If-
You know that?
Yeah, yeah. Well,
That's
or
what
even
I'm saying.
Well, and same thing too. You think they're gonna let Khabib and IBJJF? No, Khabib
No.
did Naga.
Right.
Yeah, Khabib
If-
don't have papers, bro.
if I'm standing
Paperwork, dude. I'm from Russia.
Fucking paperwork.
Where's your paperwork?
Yeah,
Fuck
come
you.
on, dude. I'm in the tournament.
if I've got a picture of my son standing on the podium next to guy that's now the world champion black belt,
Yeah, yeah.
I
come
don't
on.
care where it occurred.
Yeah. Great.
I don't
Right,
care where
exactly,
it happened.
exactly.
It happened.
A fight's a fight.
Grace got 37 Naga belts. Dude.
Yeah,
Who do you
good.
think? You know what I mean?
Come on, bro.
She was in that shit.
I got a
million times.
Grappler's
She
Quest
fought
belt
mad
too.
guys.
Both of them.
She fought a lot of people. She fought boys in that shit. She fought Lloyd Irvin's son.
Joe Selecki, there's another one.
Yeah.
Choked out
Lloyd
Lloyd Irvin's son.
Yeah.
You know?
She beat she faced a ton of kids in there, man. So people are just stupid.
Well,
you know?
and
they follow Gordon Ryan.
They follow.
You know what I mean?
Oh my God, I'm gonna come.
that should be the thing. Every time I say that, we gotta
let me ask you this. Let me ask you.
definitely need buttons.
I don't follow. I don't
That's
know.
the bit. I want that bit. That's it.
Here's always been my opinion. When I started, my kids started in karate tradition, and I know you guys did as well.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we used to make fun of collectively in the MMA world, oh, those tough guys miss
Karate,
Oh,
yeah.
those stupid fucking karate people,
Yeah,
bro.
I know.
Yeah.
Master this, master that. They kiss that guy's ass. It's just some old dude in pajamas, blah, 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 blah. And I liked that. I liked the fact that we were different because when you saw Henzo, you said, "Hey, Henzo, how are you?" At best, you said, "Mr. Gracie," out of respect. You didn't say Master, whatever. You know, it wasn't the Cowtown. He was always nice and affable. Whatnot. It's changed. Now we're at the point we're worse than the karate people because Gordon, who I happen to like, because I happen to know him a little bit off to the side when it's not the public persona.
Yeah, I like him too. It's just a funny joke. It's just-
If Gordon said, "Hey, shove a broken Coke bottle up your ass tonight, and you'll get better at the whatever choke, etc." There's about 10,000 fucking guys that are going to
know.
go out shoving those bottles up their ass.
No, I love.
and it's like, look,
Yeah.
this is a 22-year-old kid.
Yeah, we're gonna have to slow the spread of that somehow.
Yeah, seriously.
You know, and no insult to him. I'm just using him because he's the biggest guy out there. I don't know that you need to be taking your political cues from him, your religious cues from him, your life cues from him, et cetera, et cetera. He may be the greatest, whatever, et cetera, et cetera. But we've gotten to the point where the karate guys are, where these guys now at the top, it's
Same
like, you know,
shit.
You know, and you see it. I mean, I'm sure you have some of it at your place. You know, and I know the top guys and whatnot, but I'm sure there's JM said. Okay. Well,
Oh yeah, no, we shot.
if JM showed you a move, yeah, listen to him. If JM told you where to get car insurance, well, maybe you want to get another opinion. I don't know. I'm not saying he's not right.
Yeah, we do
I'm just
that,
saying it may not be an expert.
Just a guy.
We're pretty good at shutting that. We're pretty good at shutting that type of shit down. And we've told many stories where we just had to, you know, one guy would be saying something about another guy, and we'd be like, guys, let's, you know what I mean? We've had car rides. We've had plane rides.
I've mastered how to diffuse that now, but that's why I do the. Oh my god, I'm gonna go because I figured out how to beat it.
Yeah,
you guys also have a great good cop, bad cop setup down there. I mean, and you know this, but it's like you're the tough guy. You're the guy that if you don't do the right thing on the mat or you're not wearing the right thing, etc. John's the one that's going to say, hey, I don't give a shit if you train here or not. Get the fuck out. Zach's the diplomat, and I think you guys work each other pretty well that way. You're the guy.
I love working Zach, dude.
Yeah,
Fucking work him, bro.
I just facilitate where I have to.
We had to figure out how to. You have to figure out how to work together, or else it ain't gonna work.
Yeah.
I had to be.
I'm like things hit me and then
adjust the
come
munch.
off me and I throw them the other way.
In my gym,
sorry.
my wife's the boss. I mean, if you don't pay your dues, Nick Massington will never come up to you and say, "Hey, yo."
I love being the bad guy.
People try to
I
give me
won't do
money
it.
on the mat. I'm like, guys,
Come on,
you know
guy.
what I mean?
What am I to you? Am I some kind of hooker?
Fucking get out of here.
I wish my guys would give me money. Get my guys to fucking
Yeah,
pay
guys
for
would just
anything.
come up and like give me $100 and
Crumble,
20s,
yeah.
like just put it in my like.
Or they'll be like,
guy, what am I to you?
JM said that. I'm like, hey.
JM said something not nice.
JM said it.
Yeah,
didn't
JM
say
said
that.
it. You should fire him.
Talk to him, dude. That's what I say.
Oh yeah, that's a classic.
I just let it. I can get mad and throw shit and break shit at home, but like I'm trying to be unflappable. Like when someone comes up and says stuff, or I'm out to dinner and I get phone calls and everything, and I'm just like, oh, okay, I'll handle it. And as you know, every day is some type of problem.
Oh, yeah.
Every day is some type of issue. And either I can just get mad at it and want to like, you know, paddle people or whatever. But the most thing I can do is just let it, you know, bounce off me, and then also try to give it to them in like, you know.
It's a business,
Real
you know, and guys don't realize that. Everybody wants to open their own gym. Everybody thinks they can do what you've done. And it's just not that easy, man. I'll tell you, what you guys have done is unique. Well,
The
again,
jiu-jitsu part's easy.
yeah, that's 10%. And that's really the big difference between you and me and most of the other guys in the business is I've always had the awkward position of being the top guy at the gym, but not the top guy at the gym, if you know what I mean. I'm not the talent.
you're the boss, but you're not the guy whooping everyone's ass.
I'm not the talent. I'm not the talent. And so for years, I had to depend on other people to be the talent. Some of them returned that with great things, and some of them were.
You should have just carried a gun on them.
You know, and
That's what I do.
So now it's fun for me because now the top talent is my kid.
Yeah.
So now it's nice, but now I can hand the reins over
D-Boy will
comfortably.
be fine.
And with the new gym and the new setup, I can say now that's the talent and the guy running the show.
Nice.
If people want to get signed up, where do they go? At your place?
Just go to the website and
Does D-Boy handle it, or
no,
Mom does?
Myself and my wife handle
Yeah,
it.
That's cool.
We don't even handle that. We have
No,
to
I
get
don't
out of
handle
that
it.
as
We don't.
much as
Yeah.
possible.
No, I mean, and we've really brought it back differently since COVID. With the downsizing was huge. You guys know that. And we went from 6,000 square feet to 1,200 square feet. We went from puzzle mats and dirty old showers from an old karate school to absolutely pristine, clean, et cetera, et cetera.
Fuji's.
And with that, we've also lowered our overhead by about 75%. So
Stupid.
Now we can be more selective. And I'm not looking to, I'll be frank, I'm not looking to do what you guys are doing. I know I can't do it. I can't do it geographically. I can't do it and whatnot because I'm not devoting 24 hours a day to this business. I'm devoting like an hour or two to this business.
Yeah.
So now we've got a crew of, maybe 20 guys and gals, and that's perfect for that
perfect,
gym.
yeah.
So I'm not advertising. I'm not really looking. I mean, we got a new guy yesterday, state cop, real nice guy, et cetera. Great. We got a new guy on the mat. It's terrific. If I can pick up one guy a month, because you always lose one, et cetera, I'm happy with that. I don't need the pictures of 75 people training in the gym. I don't have room for it.
Well, you're in Palmerton. It's probably not going to happen either.
Well,
70 people.
Exactly right. And I always tease the guys down in Philly because they'll show a picture. We had 80 guys on the mat today. And my post always says, well, I had 60 in my gym. My population in my town is 4,000 people.
It's just, dude, it's just a squirt fest. You know what it is.
To get to have the equivalent
of squirt fest. Oh, look, I have 80 people in my gym. 90% of them suck. 90% of them are fucking terrible. You have a huge class. No one's good at jiu-jitsu. Dog shit at jiu-jitsu. Trash. Garbage.
To do my numbers, you need 17,387 people.
Look, I'm squirting on Instagram.
Yeah, 3,000. Yeah,
until you get to 17,000.
When you're really looking at the numbers.
When you get to 1% of your population is 17,000.
Yeah, you got hundreds of thousands of people in your area.
Millions.
You got 100? Get the fuck out of here.
I got 4,000 people in the
We got
entire
100
town.
people.
Oh, Jesus, look at my huge packed mat with no one good. No one's
That
good.
is a classic maneuver by people, too. You know, they do that shit all the time. We were down, one time we flew to Mississippi to do Alan Belcher. Now, granted, it was free, but we had to pay for the flight, something like that. We paid for the flights or the hotel was free or something. And we did learn some stuff. Most of it was shit like, put the trash in the trash can, stuff like that. And you're like, oh, wow. Wow. Actually, yeah, I didn't fucking know that. We're just drinking Irish whiskeys and taking edibles and listening to these guys talk.
Biloxi,
and these dudes
Mississippi.
are like, these fucking rich guys are coming out like, listen, I have 3 schools. Each school has 500 students.
Yeah.
2 of those 3 schools I've never even stepped foot in. And everyone's like, what?
Well,
You know what I mean?
it's
Like, how
that-
good are these students, dude?
Yeah, exactly. Like, can anyone fight, or would it be like I could just go in there and just mow down 500 dudes and like get the fuck out?
500.
Yeah, like where?
it's a Seagal
How?
movie.
What's the possibility of like the probability of any of those
I had to
people
tell.
being good?
I had to tell
dude?
one of his. I think people come up to me, dude. People. I checked one of his black belts on Facebook.
Who?
And some. I'm not gonna name him, but
No, but who's
one of
black
Alan
belts?
Belcher's
Oh,
black belts. He's
okay,
got
yeah.
like a cool mustache. He's like he's cool. But he like came at me on Facebook one time, and I just checked him, and then like people come up to me about it, like they see me at shows or something. They're
Yeah.
like, dude, I saw that thing you said on Facebook. I'm like, Jesus. I'm like, I didn't think it would be that big of a deal.
Yeah, it's crazy. You say shit and it comes back, but no, and I'm more guilty of it than anybody. That obligatory.
You have the one picture in your gym says you're the original black belt. And
well, yeah,
F you.
I've got that was my first shirt. But that was back in the days when they were shitting on us. I made a T-shirt that said, "Get your black belt and F you at Rat Pack Fighting Systems."
That's awesome, man.
My moniker was always the original black belt and F you.
that's a great attitude, though, because you know what? If you're a slave to what everyone thinks, that's what you are.
Yeah, that's why I really don't follow a lot of those guys on
Yeah.
Instagram, because I don't want to know. That's when you're like, Gordon Ryan's selling his house. I'm like, really? That's interesting. I have no idea. I don't even want to see what they're doing. Also, we talked about this before, because move-wise, I don't want to, because I see all the guys, I can tell which dudes, even at my school, are like trying to do every move, how like whatever I'm like, dude, who's showing you that
No,
shit?
and I mean,
You gotta be different.
Tell me if you agree or disagree on this. I don't know. You know, I like those phrases that like the parents have for like kids in wrestling, like hard work beats talent when talent doesn't work hard. My position is bullshit. That's absolute bullshit. And I've been in this business long enough to know that if it's like bodybuilding. I was into bodybuilding long before I was into this stuff. And you'd see guys come in the gym and lift weights for like 1 week.
Yeah, some people just have it.
And they'd
yeah.
be like Mr. Universe. And you'd see guys lifting every fucking day and the weights aren't going up, et cetera. It's like, dude, quit.
That's how I am.
You just don't
Yeah.
have it. I think it's the same thing here. You know, I don't know anything about traditional sports, but I always tell people, do you think like, I don't know, pick a big name like Barry Bonds. Do you think they figured out that he was good later and he worked really hard? Or do you think that since the time that guy was old enough to walk, they said, holy shit, this is something different? I used to take Matt Riddle on seminars. And this was back when I was being a little more preachy and kind of a dick, because guys were like quitting their jobs to do MMA.
Yeah, don't.
And I go, guys, let's do something here. I want you to take a look at this guy. I want you to go home and look in the mirror. If you don't see a difference, then get a new mirror.
Yeah.
And if you do see a difference, don't quit your day job, because he's like a bottom ranked fighter in the UFC. So imagine what the guys above him look like and whatnot. And I think if you've got a natural aptitude, so it's me, well, if I go train with this guy or if I learn this move, et cetera,
If I follow this guy, squirt.
just train, man. Just train and find out what works for you. And if you've got the natural ability to do it, you're going to do it.
Exactly.
And
Science.
And if you don't have it, you can study it all fucking day.
Become a good coach. Become a guy who just enjoys it for fun.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, one time I was in Austin, Texas, and a girl that was sitting next to me goes, I just quit my, how long have you been training? She's asking me a question. She goes, I just quit my job. Eddie Bravo sitting across. He looks at her. He goes, how long have you been training? She's like, 1.5 years. He goes, get your job back.
Yeah.
I'm not being self-deprecating.
No.
I don't have it.
No, it's just realistic.
I've been training jujitsu longer than most of your people have been alive, and I have a purple belt because I think they were like, well, Jesus Christ, if you stay around for 17 years, we got to give you something.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I know enough.
You're a realist. Yeah.
Well, but I know it. Like I think my knowledge is brown belt level. My ability to implement it is like low white belt. And it's getting worse because I'm 55 years old.
I'm
getting
falling
worse.
apart myself, man.
And that's and on the flip side is my son who when we brought him down to Hatfield
son's
for the
really
first time, but it's a natural thing. Like he's never watched a video, he's never read a book, he's never taken a seminar and listened.
Yeah.
And you guys know it's fresh. He won't take classes, and if he does, he flops around.
Grace is just like that. I learned that from Grace because Grace doesn't pay attention to
there you go.
anyone else.
There you go. And she's probably making shit up as she goes along,
Yeah.
which is exactly what this is supposed to be. Like it's not all set in stone.
That's why you can't follow
There's
all
still
those guys.
stuff out there.
Yeah.
And what works for you works for you. One of my guys tapped a guy at Naga, 2 guys at Naga with a move the other day should not have worked.
Yeah.
Every rule of jujitsu tells you can't do that.
A fucking guy in UFC just
It worked.
forearm pressured a guy,
Yeah.
slept him.
And he's done it before.
Yeah.
When did that happen?
Just
Saturday
Saturday.
It was the
night.
heavyweights, right?
I want to see that.
He just put a
Dude,
forearm in
that's
his neck.
sick. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Put him out.
Fuck yeah.
And it's his second
There
or
were some
third
good
time.
fights.
And that whoever the ref was actually paying attention to that because usually the guy's like dead and he's still getting
Yeah,
wailed and the
usually
guy's like keep
UFC
going.
refs are idiots.
Yeah.
But this time he was like you could tell he was still kind of with it and then he goes stop it's over
Yeah, he
and then they
sounded-
stopped it. Yeah.
That guy's 13-0. And I think that's the second or third time he's done
He
that.
had some nice takedowns. Yeah,
So,
he just gets on top half,
Yeah, I'm
and
gonna
he
have
was
to put
trying to
quarters in
pass.
the meter, bro.
Forearm. Yeah, we got to. Actually got to get going too. Anyways,
Yeah,
we got
we're
a
over an
busy
hour.
week, dude.
I don't know.
We got a
The
busy
timer
week. We
went,
got to
but
leave for Maryland this
this was a
weekend
good
and all
show. I
types of
didn't
stuff.
wanna interrupt.
But yeah, dude, we'll have Nick back for sure.
Dude,
man.
yeah, that was
Anytime.
huge.
I,
That was
I
huge.
love when you guys just tell old stories like that. It's
Yeah.
crazy.
Well,
It
it's
puts things in
important.
perspective.
It's important for the kids to know the history. And I know that my son gets tired of me lecturing about it, but
Yeah.
we have, and just the final thought, we are so unique because we are at the beginning of a sport. The only other people I can think of are snowboarders.
Yeah.
Snowboarders
Yeah,
were
X
at the
Games.
beginning.
Well, because people thought MMA, people
Yeah,
didn't know
but
what MMA was,
right.
and then now we're like, yeah, this was coming. We
X
saw it
Games
coming.
to a degree because bicycling and skateboarding has been around a really long time.
Yeah.
Snowboarding wasn't. So,
Yeah.
but think about it. We were there. We were buying tap out shirts out of Skyscrape's trunk
Well, you
of
were. I
his
didn't
car.
do that. I was
you know,
a kid.
it was crazy shit.
Yeah.
And to be there at the beginning of a sport when it first started, and I mean, I think it's important. I think it's important for these guys to know where it came from.
I didn't, to be honest with you, I never even realized it until later on. So like I did all that stuff when I was a kid, when I was like 16 to like 23. And then I took a break to try to like, because I saw exactly what we were talking about. I don't know the end goal in this. There wasn't an opportunity to have jiu-jitsu schools.
Right.
I never saw what it was like in California. I never went there until I got a little bit older. I was like on the end of my original competition career. And I didn't think there was a way to go with it. I thought maybe if I had the right people, maybe I'd go to UFC because guys that I knew that were fighting on the same cards as me, like Kurt Pellegrino, Joe Lazon, Zach Makovsky, all these guys were on the same card as me. And some of the guys, Mike Fowler, I beat him. He's like a world champion. I beat him at a grappling tournament. And I was like, dude, what the fuck? I could do this.
Right.
But I didn't see how guys were making money. And then some of the guys that I knew that got into it had 1-2 fights, got fucking destroyed, KO'd, had no health insurance, never did it.
And now they're doing bare knuckle.
Yeah, so I quit. But then when I started training again with JM and some of the guys at the school, I remember Sensei V, who I just saw working out over at I was
Soldier
talking
Fit.
to him over the weekend, my original instructor, Sensei V, and he kept telling me like, oh man, I got this book, you got to read this one book. And I was like, what book? He's like, you're in a book, man. And I didn't really understand what the fuck he was saying. And he brought me this book. It was written by Jim Genia, who was like he used to write for Full Contact Fighter back in the day, and he wrote some articles on when I used to fight and all the guys in Jersey. He did Jersey, but I'll have to show it to you. I don't know if you've ever seen that.
No.
But it might have some guys that I'm sure it has.
Yeah, I'm
guys
sure
on
it
it,
has some stuff.
It
in
has
that.
to, because it was talking about all the underground fights and everything. It's pretty cool, and I was in the book, so I was like, "Oh shit, this is really dope."
Guys, let's get
And
the fuck out of here.
Yeah. Oh, me and Nick could talk forever. You can go. Do you got to go?
No, but he's got to pee.
Oh yeah, you got to piss. Oh yeah, but anyway,
I'm trying to save him.
I'll bring that book for you.
Absolutely.
I promise you. And we did Rat Pack
Plug the
Finishers
Finishers tournament.
We did that already.
Rubber Guard Assassins.
Oh yeah, do we
Rubber
have to
Guard
do that?
Assassins, Armbar, Sabraki jewelry, custom jewelry, Smooth Root CBD.
What is that? Is that a Sabraki thing or is that something else? That's just a
What, my shirt?
Yeah. What? No.
Oh,
What kind of? You're rocking jewelry, dude. What do you got?
This is just a thing I bought.
Oh,
Is it a skull or?
Yeah, it's a fucking sick skull with pythons through the thing.
Damn, that's sick.
It's for pussy getting.
yeah, we hit all the sponsors. I wanted to tell you, I forgot, and we'll talk as soon as this is over. I reached out to Emmaus Theater. They're down for doing Jokes and Chokes. They're working on a price. And then I also talked to them, and we might be able to, or you guys might be able to host not Finishers Open, but start doing Finishers there.
Hey,
as
do you
well.
want to MC our comedy show?
Absolutely.
That'd be perfect.
This guy does great
Yeah.
introductions,
Yeah.
bro. Like, dude, every time I'm like get introduced for a fight, like this guy knows shit. Like he'll be
Right.
like, JM
Yeah.
is blah blah blah. blah, blah, blah. I'm
actually-
like, thank you, man.
I actually did a little bit back in law school.
You could tell.
I made the mistake of doing racial humor about the professors in law school.
Yeah,
Go
right.
on.
You're a lawyer too, right? So you're like, you got to talk. You got to know your shit, right?
Yeah, no, I'd love to do anything you guys need from me. I've told you that when we
Fuck yeah.
started this.
Always.
I really appreciate you guys just including me, and I appreciate you taking my son in because he's gonna be around a long time. with you
D-Boy's the
guys.
man, dude.
Well, appreciate
Love that kid.
Yeah, I'm going to have him on the podcast. We've been going back and forth about trying to book a date. But
Sick.
It's impossible to get anyone to run the switcher. So
Hey, hire
we,
my
we
brother.
got moves. Moves coming up.
Hire some people. There's jobs, people.
better-
Don't listen to Biden. There's jobs. We can do this.
We didn't even get political the whole time.
Yeah.
Today. It was beautiful.
No, dude, I had people texting me. They were like, "Dude, now we go is going to be crazy Monday."
Really?
Yeah.
Hey, man, if you can't see it by now, I got nothing
Yeah,
left to say
I
to you.
can't. Don't let me
That's
get
it.
started now because
No,
I'll
no,
talk
we
for
gotta
another.
go. We gotta
No,
go.
no,
We gotta
don't,
go. We gotta go.
don't.
My teeth are bleeding. Thanks to all the
America.
sponsors. Thanks to all the sponsors. We'll go over Jokes and Chokes, and we have that coming down.
Sick.
So.
I love
stuff
Jokes and
going
Chokes.
on.
We got drunk as hell last time at Jokes and Chokes.
Yeah.
Too much. Not that much this time.
Yeah, my family got wasted.